Most folks think of an old Hollywood Western when they hear the words peace pipe. They picture white settlers and native chiefs sitting around a campfire, passing a pipe around and signing a piece of paper to end a war. But that picture completely misses the real story. For thousands of years, on two vast continents, ceremonial tobacco pipes were not merely casual tools for smoking. They were powerful political instruments, sacred spiritual bridges, and highly advanced, ancient engineering. They sealed empires, stopped bloody conflicts, and linked human beings to what they believed was the divine. We're breaking up the Hollywood fictions today. We will go deep into the true, untold history of the ceremonial pipe, from ancient archaeological digs to the sacred red stone quarries of the American Midwest. The old origins. To understand how far back this history goes, we have to go back well before European contact. Tobacco is native to the Americas. It wasn't a casual habit or a recreational vice for ancient cultures. It was a powerful, sacred plant medicine. The earliest ceremonial pipes date back about 3,000 years ago to indigenous communities during what archaeologists call the woodland period. But they didn't look like the long wooden pipes you see in movies today. They were made of stone or clay altogether. Archaeologists have been digging up amazing artifacts called effigy pipes in places such as Ohio and Illinois. They were carved by the ancient Hopewell culture. It's the detail that makes them stunning. They have hyper-realistic carvings of native animals, such as otters, falcons, and panthers. And here's the interesting design decision. The animal is always facing the smoker. All this was premeditated. When one smoked the pipe, one looked straight into the eyes of the animal spirit. They were, in a metaphorical sense, breathing in its power, its courage, its wisdom. These pipes were extremely valuable. So valuable, in fact, that they were traded over thousands of miles, through huge ancient trade networks, from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to Canada. The anatomy and spirit of the calumet for centuries, and the migration of the tribes across the Great Plains. The pipe design evolved. It became what historians called the calumet. This is the ceremonial pipe of the Lakota, Dakota, Cheyenne, and Pawnee traditions. For these tribes, the pipe is a micro-universe. It is made of two completely separate pieces, and each piece has a different spiritual meaning. First, there is the bowl. The bowl is usually made of stone and symbolizes the feminine principle, the earth, and the literal blood of the ancestors. Then you have the stalk. The hollowed-out wood of the stem is made from ash, cedar, or sumac, and it symbolizes the masculine principle, the sky, and all living things that walk the earth. With the sacred bundle, the pipe is always kept with the stem and bowl completely separated. Join them together, and it flips a cosmic switch. The pipe lives and it's awake. When tobacco or kinnikinick, a mixture of chopped bark, herbs and plants traditionally used, is placed in the bowl and burned, the smoke rises. That smoke wasn't simply exhaust for the tribes of the plains. It was a physical delivery system of prayers. It literally carried human words right up to the Creator. The blood of the ancestors. Now, let's talk about the most famous material used to make these pipes, a unique, soft red stone called Catlinite, or simply pipestone. The best version of this stone can be found in one particular place on Earth, southwestern Minnesota. Today, it is preserved as Pipestone National Monument. This geological site was something very rare in human history for hundreds of years. It was a place of refuge for everyone. These quarries were definitely neutral ground, even in the times of brutal tribal warfare. As the Lakota believe, the stone is red because it is the blood of their ancestors, actually burned into the earth after a mighty ancient flood. Carving a pipe from this stone was and still is considered an act of profound devotion. It requires busting through thick layers of solid, pink quartzite, using only hand tools. It is a grueling process that can take weeks of manual labor just to get a single block of workable clay stone. The shamanic Southwile, the stone calumet, dominated North America. A completely different ceremonial pipe history was unfolding far to the south, deep in the Amazon rainforest. In shamanic traditions, like those of the Shipibo and Mestizo peoples of Peru, pipes were made from dense tropical hardwoods, like Palo Sangre, and they weren't used for political treaties. They were used for spiritual healing and medicine work. Amazonian shamans smoke a wild, incredibly potent species of tobacco called mapacho. This stuff is completely different from commercial tobacco. It has up to 20 times more nicotine than standard cigarettes. In these rituals, the pipe acts as a spiritual filter and tool. The shaman doesn't inhale the smoke for a personal buzz. Instead, they use the pipe to blow dense clouds of smoker practice called a soplo directly onto a patient's head, hands, or an afflicted body part. The history of the South American pipe is rooted in the belief that tobacco smoke is a powerful disinfectant for both the physical body and the human spirit, acting as a shield against negative energies. A living history when European settlers arrived in the 17th and 18th centuries. They saw these pipes being used to finalize agreements, which is where the phrase peace pipe came from. But Europeans drastically misunderstood the depth of the tradition. To indigenous peoples, a treaty signed with a pen was just ink on paper. A treaty sealed with a ceremonial pipe was a binding, eternal vow made in front of the Creator. Today, this history isn't locked away in a dusty museum drawer. It is a living, breathing tradition. Federal law in the United States still strictly protects the pipestone quarries, ensuring that only enrolled Native Americans are legally allowed to dig the stone and keep the craft alive.